A ship loses gravity. A queen awakens. T-1000 reconfigures. In Zero-G, there's no ground to rule, only the winner survives. In the vast universe of science fiction, two creatures stand apart as terrifying icons, beasts born from nightmares and molded by mankind's darkest visions. One, the Xenomorph Queen, a towering matriarch bred for survival and slaughter, worshipped as death incarnate by some, feared by all. The other, the T-1000, a shape-shifting liquid metal assassin sent through time by a machine intelligence bent on eradicating humanity. Both have faced impossible odds, destroyed their enemies with ruthless precision, and become the stuff of legend. Imagine now, not Earth, not a colony planet, but the weightless silence of deep space. A drifting, abandoned research vessel spins slowly above a gas giant. Its gravity systems are offline, its crew long dead or worse. Inside, a monstrous experiment has gone wrong. Contained deep within the ship are two beings never meant to meet, never meant to coexist in the same timeline, let alone the same room. Clips from the Alien franchise show the Xenomorph Queen rising from the shadows, her skeletal crown slicing through fog, her hiss paralyzing. In contrast, the T-1000 stands cold and expressionless, silver skin rippling as it reforms from molten fragments, chasing its prey with relentless calm. The question then is simple and chilling. What happens when the apex predator of biology meets the pinnacle of artificial death in a place where there is no ground to stand on, no up or down, only chaos? In zero gravity, every rule of combat is rewritten. There's no weight to drive momentum, no floor to anchor a charge. Movement becomes fluid, momentum carries unchecked, and reaction time is split by milliseconds. The arena becomes not a battlefield, but a three-dimensional void of debris and floating hazards. The Xenomorph Queen, unshackled from gravity, becomes a nightmarish ballet of limbs, tail, and teeth. Her agility in atmosphere is horrifying enough, but in the weightlessness of space, she glides more than runs. Her long limbs allow her to spring from surface to surface, tail coiling and uncoiling to whip her around corners. And her acidic blood? In Zero-G, even a drop becomes a drifting, deadly orb, sizzling through metal and flesh without warning. The T-1000, however, thrives in environments that defy human norms. In Zero-G, its liquid structure becomes a tactical asset. It can disperse into floating metal filaments to dodge attacks, compress itself into spears or blades mid-movement, and reassembles silently behind its prey. It does not breathe, it does not tire, and it does not feel fear. Unlike the Xenomorph Queen, it processes the environment with a machine's logic, adapting instantly. But how do their strengths measure in the crucible of battle? The Xenomorph Queen is nearly unmatched in physical power. Her tail is a weapon of brute force, capable of piercing steel. Her claws rip through armored hulls. She is fast, unpredictable, and intelligent in a primal, terrifying way. And her hive-mind instinct allows her to assess threats swiftly. Her blood itself is a weapon, acidic enough to eat through bulkheads. In a confined space, even injuring her becomes a risk. Yet the Queen's reliance on muscle-based propulsion has limits. In Zero-G, without friction or weight, she must use her limbs and tail to anchor or launch herself. If separated from a surface, she could be left floating, vulnerable for precious seconds. The T-1000, on the other hand, is almost immune to physical trauma. Bullets, blades, even acidic blood can damage its form but not its function. Can reform from droplets. It can slip through vents or reconfigure into bladed tendrils in mid-flight. But it is susceptible to extreme temperatures. Intense cold slows it. Extreme heat destabilizes its molecular cohesion. If the Queen discovers this, she could exploit it. So the simulation begins. In a digital rendering, the camera glides through the abandoned Celestium, a derelict science vessel once run by Weyland-Yutani. Warning lights flicker red. Broken pipes leak coolant. The artificial gravity is offline. The ship is dead. But inside, in Cargo Bay 6, a nightmare awakens. The Queen stirs first. Encased in a reinforced containment pod, she growls as lights blink back to life. Her claws slam against the interior. Across the chamber, in a stasis cradle half destroyed by time, the T-1000 liquefies from a frozen statue into awareness. It shifts, scanning. Its mission: eliminate. The pod hisses. The Queen bursts free, launching across the chamber, hissing and shrieking. Debris floats as she slashes through crates. The T-1000 calmly pushes from the wall, morphing one arm into a razor blade. The Queen strikes first, tail spinning her like a bladed comet. She slams into the T-1000, driving it into a bulkhead. Metal buckles, but the T-1000 melts around the blow, slipping behind her. A spike forms, plunges. The Queen recoils, acidic blood trailing in droplets. One drop touches the T-1000's extended blade. It sizzles but does not penetrate deep. The assassin registers the damage and shifts its density. Learning, adapting, the Queen uses a support beam to launch again. This time, she coils midair, tail spinning behind like a gyroscope. Her claws pin the T-1000. Jaws snap. Inner mouth shoots out. The T-1000's head splits open, reforms. A tendril of liquid metal wraps around her neck. They spin. Debris joins them. A floating dance of death in silence. The Queen slices wildly, slamming the T-1000 into a coolant tank. The tank explodes. Frost clouds erupt. The T-1000 freezes in places. Its movements become sluggish. Sensing this, the Queen presses the attack, raking claws across its torso. Another wound. More acid. The walls begin to melt. The T-1000 reforms a bladed claw and severs part of her tail. The Queen howls, disoriented in the zero-G spiral. She bounces off a panel, then disappears into a maintenance shaft. The T-1000 follows, shifting into a liquid wave to slip through. But the Queen has set a trap. A rupture. Pressurized airlock. She triggers it. The T-1000 is blasted outward, but reforms in time, clinging to the inner door. The Queen charges. Another collision. This time they both tumble into the next chamber, a reactor core room lit by blue pulses. They slam into the power grid. Sparks fly. Electricity courses through both. The Queen convulses. The T-1000's form flickers. But the Queen recovers first. Her biology endures pain, learns from it. The T-1000 hesitates. His program stalls. The Queen drives her talons into its chest, flinging it into a reactor vent. Then she opens the emergency purge valve. Fire. Intense heat. The vent glows. The T-1000 screeches for the first time. Its form spasms, liquefying uncontrollably. The Queen watches, waiting, but it's not over. One arm of the T-1000 detaches, crawling, reforming, creeping back. The Queen's senses twitch. She lunges. Final blow, tail through the core of the incomplete form. Acid floods the limb. The T-1000 spasms and melts. The simulation ends. In this epic hypothetical battle, the Queen wins. Not through brute strength alone, but through cunning, adaptation, and a deadly environment she turns to her advantage. The T-1000 nearly succeeded. Its resistance to most of the Queen's arsenal gave it the edge early, but its weakness to heat, combined with the Queen's ferocity, sealed its fate. In science fiction, we often debate who would win in a fight. Alien versus Predator, Terminator versus RoboCop, Xenomorph versus Jedi. But this battle, Queen versus T-1000 in zero gravity, brings together primal instinct and futuristic precision in a dance of horror. Who do you think would win in a real confrontation? Could the T-1000's AI have outsmarted the Queen with more time? Or is raw evolutionary terror the deadliest force of all? Join the conversation in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe for more epic sci-fi simulations. And remember, in space, no one can hear your scream, but the machines are always listening.